So years ago, I also have a cassette of us talking when you did one-on-one consultations. Yeah, I know, I've been at this a while. So I couldn't find it to listen to before the cruise, but I remember it was about relationships, and I would still like to attract the love of my life. And I've had great relationships and some not so great ones, and then have decided to, just sort of live my life. And yet, there's sometimes the urge to take inspired action and try to meet someone. So I would love to know, since I'm speaking with infinite intelligence, what...
Not AI, I.
Right. What would you recommend specifically for me? What am I missing? Because I feel like I really understand this.
Well, let's do a little work here.
Okay.
So
awesome. In front of 660 people. Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
So let's start in this powerful basis. We know you understand it, and we know you all do too, because we've been talking about it. But let's start with this what is plays such a big factor in the way you present yourself to the field of attraction. So if you've been lonely, you're presenting that. If you went running and screaming into the woods because of a relationship, then that could be in your bag of marbles too. If dominant people step on your toes, or if people come and bring their clutter into your environment. In other words, there are all kinds of things. And so you don't realize it, but when you see something in the environment around you and you push against it, you observe it and you don't like it, and you don't flick it off and say, now what? Then you've activated something without even knowing it, like dominant drivers, or people that are bossing people around, or bullies. That's a big thing for you. You're all about independence and self-actualization and all that.
I am specifically.
Yes, you are.
I know.
We know you know, but we thought we'd let them know. So almost anything that would come into your environment gives you the feeling that you would have to compromise in some way. So this is what's going to help you, a lot of you, in a way that you haven't even considered before. The law of attraction will make the perfect match for you. The law of attraction will make the perfect match for you because your inner being knows all of the things that you've been requesting, all of the things you didn't like, which made you ask for that. So the law of attraction is bringing it to you, but you're not letting yourself find the timing of it, because there are rigid beliefs that you're wanting to work around. And we want you to know the universe, with the help of the law of attraction in your inner being, is working around them, but you keep getting in the way because you keep thinking that you have to micromanage it. Don't forget I said that, and don't forget I said. And so then when you see someone behaving in a way that you've lived or noticed and not liked, if it activates it again, and it does, and you feel the discord of that, even though it seems to you, even though it seems to you that it has nothing to do with the issue on the table, it does. And the fact that you're working with so many powerful people that are wanting to do powerful things, in other words, you're at the top of your game, helping people, and you're meeting a lot of different personalities. You're meeting people with bags of marbles that you don't want anything to do with. A piece of marble somewhere, and you're meeting people with bags of marbles that are awesome. Yeah. But there's enough. You're trying to guide people into better behavior. So you're keeping those kinds of things active in your vibration. So you're actually afraid of the market, because there's some of everything out there, and you haven't heard in the way that you've heard in these hours that you can trust the law of attraction. You can trust the law of attraction. And this is why, because your inner being has got you and knows what you want. And your inner being is the dominant attractor on your behalf. So you don't have to instruct anymore. You've done part 1 and part 2, step 1 and step 2. You don't have to instruct anything anymore like you're doing with all of these people and all of this corporate work that you're doing. That's not how it works. You have to trust that it is all set up, that it's in the process of becoming, and you just got to chill in that attitude of, you know what I want, and I know when I'm not letting it in, and I'm going to do less of not letting it in, and I'm going to do less being right and less being opinionated and less, well, the reason I've come to believe this is less activating that stuff and more, now what? Now what? Now what? You are not the same person asking for the same things that you were a week ago. You are constantly asking. And your path of least resistance is continually evolving. And so it's really all done. You just want to do more stepping into the shade. It's not easy to be a teacher and not be really observant of what's going on. And there's something about the work you do where you are wanting to teach people behavior and methods and actions that makes you vividly aware of all of those ingredients. And we just want you to trust that the law of attraction is sorting them out, that you don't have to. You don't have to.
I do teach them mindset and law of attraction in my own way. I don't use those terms. So I should perhaps focus more on...
However, they're coming to you with their bag of marbles expectations, and you have had to modify to match their marbles. Otherwise, they're not hearing you at all.
That's right.
And in the matching of their marbles, you're defying your own.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to listen
Not a big
to that
deal.
again.
It's not a big deal.
Okay.
You can continue to do that. Don't stop that. In other words, that's the path of least resistance for that phase of your work. But that's not the path of least resistance for this subject that we're talking about now.
Okay.
So the path of the path of least resistance is adjusting all over the place. You just have to do what you're doing on purpose. In other words, do you believe that there is a match for you? You don't. You don't.
Some days I really do.
But you don't. And the reason that you don't is because it seems like it damn well should have been here long before now.
Yes, well.
But that it doesn't matter what you have believed. It doesn't even matter what you do believe. It only matters what you come to believe. Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? I'm approaching this. Now what? And the change that we want this Void workshop to help you all with, it's a new emphasis that will help you, because you come to us where you are asking, and we know this about all of you. The benefit is, the new way of looking at it is, how am I presenting myself to the law of attraction? Period. Feels like I have to keep explaining, like my kid won't take the trash out, and so I tell him and 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 tell him and tell him. Finally, I beat him down and he takes the trash out. Well, you're not bossing the law of attraction around. You're not bossing the universe around. You didn't have to, and you can't. You've already made your statements many times of what you want. Now you have to stand in a place of trust and expectation that it's covered. But it's hard to do that when it hasn't been unfolding. So you have to understand why it hasn't been unfolding. And the answer is, you've got what is itis. What is so dominant in your awareness. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. Esther was riding with Jerry one day and she said, I'm lonely. And he said, and then as she relaxed, he said, are you lonely or bored? And she said, oh yeah, I'm bored. I'm bored. For a minute, I'm bored. Which was her launching of rockets, stimulation of thought, fun things to do. In other words, there's no reason to ever be lonely, and there's no reason to ever be bored, because the law of attraction will match you up with things that satisfy that. In other words, every single thing you want, the law of attraction can match you up with it. But as you make these lists of things, and as you try to dictate to the law of attraction things that you're not a match to, or marbles that aren't active right now, then there's a sort of what feels like a log jam. It really isn't, but it feels like it. And it is not that the emphasis when we said to you, and we're going to say it again. We want you to come with us. Just feel this. Stand in the. It's not going to happen to you today, but go to Texas with Esther, and it's probably over 100 degrees, and the humidity's high. And when you step outside, you're going to want to kill yourself. No. When you step outside,
I came from that. That's why
when you step outside, you're going to notice, and then when you step into the sun, if you decide to walk, and when the sun is high and hot, you're going to feel the harshness of how you've presented yourself to the sun, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so then feel it. Don't condemn yourself or where you live or the weather or the sun. Just now what? And then just step into the shade and notice the difference. Notice the difference in how that feels. That is it. That is it. But so often you don't let yourself feel the relief because you have these beliefs about, you said 20 years ago. And the implication is I've been practicing this and I've been studying this, but still this thing I want has eluded me. And we say it hasn't really, because there is no regression. And if you could see the precision with which you have created this vortex relationship that you're wanting to experience in the see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, especially taste it, touch it part. If you could realize that it is done, it is done, it is done, it is done, it is done. If you could relax in that knowing it's done, someone, my inner being, who adores me, knows it's done, knows exactly where I am in relationship to it, knows where my hang-ups are, knows where I'm least resistance, knows where I'm most resistance, isn't judging me about the resistant parts. It's just calling me around them,